Yowza. It's paper time with this week, I'm happy to say, plenty for real German speakers like me to get their teeth into, with the remarkable story of the one man at Bayern Munich who has trouble putting things in the net. Uli Hoeness. Yep, Uli's tax evasion case came to a close this Thursday afternoon, and to say that the trial has dominated the German press is a whopping understatement. A bit like Uli's returns, of course. Whipping up the interest was the way the figures involved expanded as the Bayern president and co-owner of a sausage factory came clean about exactly how much baloney he'd been giving the tax authorities over the years in what is probably the worst case of evasion anyone can remember. Initially charged, indeed, with just €3.5 million in unpaid taxes, he then shocked the court on Monday by changing the figure to €18.5 million, and then the next day to €27.2 million, consigning, as the Tageszeitung explained, 70,000 documents at the last minute to the court, as the paper explains, in a bid to confuse them and avoid Bird. Well, says Die Welt, this is nothing but contempt towards the German public of the highest order. Bild take a more understanding stance. Lock him up and throw away the key. While inside having a little wonder to themselves, 27.2 million, just how rich is he really? Well, 3.5 years is the sentence. He's appealing that, but while he contemplates jail and maybe a cheeky takeover bid for Birmingham City as well, the question for fans is, what will this mean for Bayern, the European champions? Hoeness, after all, was the man who effectively made them what they are today. Well, this week the team was standing squarely behind him. Pep Guardiola, indeed, before the Arsenal game, saying, we'll win this one for Hoeness. But there's no word yet on who they'll have in to replace the president. Apparently, it won't mean a greater involvement for this man here, Franz Beckenbauer. A shame after his interesting comments this week describing Guardiola as boring and saying, keep passing like this and we'll end up playing like Barcelona and then nobody will want to see us. Well, while they prepare to be good Bayern, their president in Munich, other news this week includes, oh look, a salute to Nicklas Bendtner, who's back on the front pages of Danish paper BT. Crazy in Copenhagen, Nicklas unzipping himself and whipping a taxi with, I should stress, a belt he was carrying. Even when he's not playing, he makes the news, marvels BT, after the star was alleged to have dropped his trousers and rubbed himself up and down on a cab in a sort of autoeroticism, or a taxi rank. He's made headlines, BT proudly continues, from Italy to Islington. Oh, it's good to see Hoeness not the only one cocking up his taxes this week. But let's move on to a rather more salubrious story now to finish off this week, and that is Atletico Madrid knocking Milan out of the Champions League and making the quarter-finals for the first time in 17 years. Well, delight, of course, in Spain. Go for the champions, says As. This was a show of authority to Europe. Atleti are now the team no one will want in the draw. El Mundo Atletico says, Mamma Mia, because, you know, Milan are Italian, and Marca salute them thus. Giants of Europe, Atleti blow away 7-time European winners Milan, back in the big time after 17 years. Well, despair, though, meanwhile, in Italy, as the last remaining Serie A team goes out, and with them, as the Gazzetta put it in their editorial, the last fig leaf for our national game. This is year zero. No Italians in the quarters. Sounds like a house rule in a nunnery. A more Italian reaction? There once was a Milan, says the Corriere dello Sport, Wednesday morning. Given that the Rossoneri are 10th right now in Serie A, 20 points off qualifying for the competition again, who knows when they'll be back. Gazzetta dello Sport, 0 Milan. It's the 11th of March and already the season is over. Who's to blame? Everyone, including, says Gazzetta, Silvio Berlusconi, his daughter Barbara Berlusconi, Galliani, and these two people here, Clarence Seedorf, the manager, and Mario Balotelli. Paper claims that his opposite number on Tuesday, Diego Costa, covered 20 times more ground during the match and says the fans are against him and some senior players too. As for Clarence Seedorf, well, handpicked by Berlusconi he may be, but after 6 defeats in 11 matches now, candidates are already lining up to replace him. The paper illustrates this thus. Luciano Spalletti, Frank de Boer, Pippo Inzaghi, Cesare Prandelli, and, look at this, Roberto Donadoni, former Milan star, whose Parma side is unbeaten now in 15 matches, and who just happens to be playing Milan this weekend. I know what you're thinking. No Big Sam again. Well, there'll be another healthy dollop of Euro headlines next week when we'll be looking back on another round of Champions League action, of course, as well as more besides, no doubt. In the meantime, have yourselves a great time till then, and we'll see you on Friday.